The night was dark and silent, with only the faint whisper of the wind rustling through the trees. Arman walked alone down the deserted street, his footsteps echoing off the cold pavement. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the weight of his past clung to him like a shadow. He pulled his coat tighter around his body, but the chill he felt ran far deeper than the cold night air. 10 years ago, Arman had been a different man, ambitious, cunning, and driven by a hunger for success. Back then, he believed that the ends justified the means. His closest friend Rohan had been his partner in every sense of the word. They had dreamed of building something together, something they could be proud of. Together, they founded a small business, pouring their hearts and souls into its growth. Success came slowly at first, but they persevered, and soon enough, the rewards began to show. But success has a way of revealing true character. The night it all changed was one Arman could never forget. Rain hammered against the windows as Arman sat alone in their tiny office. Documents lay scattered across his desk, illuminated by the flickering desk lamp. He had found a loophole, a way to take everything for himself. His hands trembled as he forged Rohan's signature, sealing his betrayal with a single stroke of the pen. Greed whispered promises of wealth and power, drowning out the guilt gnawing at his conscience. By morning, Arman was the sole owner of their company. Rohan was left with nothing. In the days that followed, Rohan's life unraveled. His family was plunged into hardship, and his once bright spirit grew dim. Whispers of his betrayal followed him wherever he went, and soon he disappeared from the city, leaving behind only broken dreams and unanswered questions. Arman, on the other hand, thrived. His betrayal paid off, bringing him wealth and power beyond his wildest dreams. He built an empire on the ashes of their friendship, convincing himself that karma was nothing more than a fairy tale meant to scare the weak. But even as his fortune grew, his nights remained restless. Shadows lurked at the edges of his dreams, whispering accusations in the dark. Tonight was no different. As Arman walked home from another business meeting, the wind howled through the empty streets, biting at his skin. The silence pressed down on him, heavy and suffocating. He quickened his pace, but the feeling of being watched gnawed at his nerves. Then he heard it, a voice, low and cold, cutting through the night. Aman, he froze. Slowly he turned, his heart pounding in his chest. There, standing beneath the dim street light, was a figure from his past. Rohan. Arman's breath caught in his throat. The years had changed Rohan, hardening his features and darkening his eyes. The man who stood before him now was not the friend he had once known. Did you think I'd forgotten? Rohan's voice was calm, but it carried the weight of years of pain and betrayal. Arman stumbled back, his voice barely a whisper. Rohan, I didn't mean for things to go that way. It was a mistake. Rohan stepped closer, his eyes never leaving Arman's. A mistake. You destroyed my life. My family suffered because of you. I lost everything while you built your empire on lies. Tears welled in Arman's eyes. Please, Rohan, I was young and foolish. I was blinded by greed. Rohan studied him for a long moment before speaking. Karma doesn't forget Arman, it just waits. That night, the police arrived at Arman's mansion. Evidence of his past crimes had mysteriously surfaced. His empire crumbled overnight, and the man who once stood at the top of the world found himself alone in the darkness. As he sat in his cold prison cell staring at the blank wall, Arman finally understood the truth he'd ignored for so long.